Hi, this is Matt with Intergalactic Herald. Welcome to my Star Atlas Week in Review podcast. This is podcast number 151. Any articles or videos mentioned can be found on my website at intergalacticherald.com. Just look for weekly recap newsletter 199. A quick summary of things that happened this past week in Star Atlas, and I guess I should kind of put everything in context. It's 2026, so you've been listening. The last two are kind of review of 2025. I did record those before the holidays, so haven't really took a break. But again, you got two podcasts. So most of this content that came out is, for this last week. So there was, before the holidays, an interview with Michael Wagner. I haven't actually listened to that, just ran out of time tonight, so I'll probably listen to it over the weekend, but that's in my newsletter, so if you want to check that out. Again, haven't listened to it. I did listen to the weekly Atlas Brew, and that was new, so it's only a few days old. And then the other big content was AFIA put out a kind of week, I should say a year in review and a year ahead. So that article I'll mention. I totally forgot they also came out with a zinc guide that's in my newsletter. I didn't actually write anything down because I admittedly read that 2 weeks ago and totally forgot about it until just now. So anyways, but yeah, so basically I'll just be going over things that were talked about in the Atlas Brew and the AFIA, I guess it wasn't their newsletter. It was more of a guide look ahead for 2026 and a little bit of a review of 2025. Before I get to that, just want to mention a couple things I'm doing in Star Atlas. First, again, is my website, intergalacticherald.com. It's a great Star Atlas resource website. It has it has a beginner's guide for how to play Star Atlas, different parts of it, a number of directories from guilds to Star Atlas content creators, I think I have something. Tools, things like that, builders. Also, you can get this weekly recap newsletter. You can also get AI summaries of any of the Star Atlas events that occurred. And finally, if you want to sign up for a email newsletter or email alerts when new announcements are posted on the Star Atlas Discord. So again, you can find all that at intergalacticherald.com. Also do have a Star Atlas merch store at intergalacticgear.com. Totally admit it doesn't have much, but again, just priorities. But if you want a Star Atlas mug, you can definitely get it, shipping in the United States. And also I am trying to start a Star Atlas community for gamers who aren't joining Star Atlas guilds. You can check that out at intergalacticcoalition.com. So let's go ahead and get into what happened this past week in Star Atlas. Like I said, it's a little weird one because some of this content actually came out before the holidays, but then I went ahead and did the my year in review, 2 parts there. So kind of put them all together. And again, I kind of forgot the ones that occurred before the holidays, but links to those are all in my newsletter. But the two, biggest ones were the Atlas Brew. And they did mention kind of near the beginning of the Atlas Brew that little announcement that was made in the Foundation room from the CEO, Michael Wagner, that definitely after C4 is done, the team's going to change and start working again on the Atlas Locker Addendum and integrating Polis into the game. So that was kind of a new little, alpha or whatever, of things that are coming. But the bulk of the Atlas Brew is kind of talking about the order of release. And they kind of did this before where they're not putting any dates, but they're kind of telling, sort of where things should come out in order. So they did mention that unfortunately the UE5 version did have some bugs, so they're going to be working on those. There's also some zinc bugs, so those are kind of the first priority. Then it sounds like the Holosim Chapter 2 is next on the agenda. Core, which is the graphic novel, should come out after that. And then they kind of put the order, which we've kind of known, but I think, again, it's always good to just be restated, especially when the team's willing to share, that the C4 PTR, which, again, I forget what PTR stands for, but it's basically the pre-relaunch of that. Then Zinc will come out, and then the C4 mainnet. And then they kind of added something about a new UE5 mode, but they kind of they didn't want to say more. So I don't know if, again, this is something new that they did announce at the town hall. But again, they kind of immediately stopped talking about it. So not really sure what that meant. But again, a little bit of a tease, and that's fine. So yeah, so I'll kind of leave to give my thoughts when I get the State of Star Atlas, just kind of going over what was there. Then, as I mentioned, AFIA put out a guide, newsletter / just article where they were looking ahead to 2026, but they also did kind of a actually it was an excellent review of kind of what happened in 2025 and kind of spurred a lot of thoughts in my mind. But basically, they did mention that 2025 was, quote, a lackluster year. I thought that was an interesting way to look at it, but I kind of, have to agree with it. So they did note that the UE5 did become playable and fun. Also, there was the UE5 to Sage crossover with the Ink resource. But they're pretty blunt that, Sage had no meaningful updates. And I kind of I reread that. I'm like, no, I guess you're right. And I was kind of going back to my podcast where I did the 2 parts. And I thought there were some Sage things that came out. But again, I can't really point at anything other than maybe like the Phantom Star bases and things like that. But again, those were kind of, I guess, some economic changes for the fact that all the star bases had been upgraded. So again, I think that's a fair analysis. Also, they did mention, and it's been mentioned many times before, that HoloSim did have persistent syncing issues and performance issues and things like that. But the one they mentioned that I had totally forgotten about, and I'll kind of bring up later, was that there was no communication about the updates to what is called Season 0. And again, I totally kind of forgot about that. I'll get into that a little bit later to give my thoughts. But then the rest of the article was about things hopefully coming in 2026, or at least the next things. And again, Sage C4, HoloSim Chapter 2. And then I kind of already forgot from the town hall about these UE5 modes, Siege and Conquest, which again, when the Atlas Brew mentioned a new one, I was like, oh, those. But then they announced that, so I don't know why they said it. So maybe there's something else. Also mentioning the promise, the promise of kind of the MMO RPG type of thing with what was shown with the kind of Gallia campaign that came out in the most recently released right before the holidays, and then of course Zinc and Core. So again, lining what the Atlas Brew was talking about too. So so definitely a great read. You can get links to that if you go to my website, intergalactichero.com. Just look for the news recap 199 for the links to the Atlas Brew that was, again, always great. Recorded by StarOS TV, and then of course AFIA publishes all their content on their website. So, but I was kind of alluding to kind of wait to give my thoughts when I kind of talk about kind of the state of Star Atlas this past week. And so, I really think AFIA's look back was actually really good, and that the fact that there was some good about UE5, definitely the Ink component where there's finally this crossover between people who are playing UE5 and people that are playing Sage. But again, the article did bring up, I think, fair, there really wasn't much true in Sage. And again, we found out, I can't remember if it was at the town hall or after, I think it was a town hall, that, I'm pretty sure it was, well, anyways, I think I've talked about it. So that really they wanted C4 to come out last summer. So the fact that it's now slipped another 6 months and now still another month or two. But again, I mean, that's part of game development. I mean, you set a goal and it wasn't obtainable. So, and now that we know that really needing to have Zinc, and I don't know if Zinc was part of that back then either, or releasing it as a standalone product was part of that. But, But also the kind of analysis that HoloSim kind of had all the issues. But again, during the time, I guess I kind of do remember it as being talked about in a very positive light. So I didn't play, so I can't really say that if those performance issues drove people away, though. Again, I think I saw some of those posts on the Discord. So again, whatever. But really what I wanted to comment on, because I had totally forgot about, is this again, Season 0. And as I recall, Season 0 is basically the UE5 game, but it's fully developed in the sense, if I remember correctly from the roadmaps they published, I mean, this is going to it's going to be not free to play, but it'll be no beta, no alpha. I mean, it's done. And so it's going to have all the different things. So we've heard about it for a long time, but again, I think the thing that was really interesting that just kind of didn't recall was, nothing got talked about. Because again, we were all talking about C4 and a little bit about HoloSim when that came, and then definitely Zinc. But Season 0, the first kind of real foundational part of what is what's supposed to be Star Atlas. I mean, Star Atlas is never Sage, and it was never C4, and it was never HoloSim, and it was never Zinc. I mean, it was this space game, and it was designed and redesigned and again season 0. So yeah, so again, I think it was really insightful, and I just completely forgot about it. So I guess again we'll kind of see. But my thinking, because all we can do is look ahead, to 2026, I really think, and again, maybe it's just because it's the first of the year and you kind of just set those goals, maybe not resolutions, but definitely what you're trying to accomplish. I think it really is all about C4. It has to be released. I mean, I can't go another year with, the current Sage. I mean, there's just, and especially running on having to pay Solana transactions. So, it needs to be released. And I guess I kind of wrote to myself, I mean, it needs to be good. I mean, I don't know how you say it any differently. I mean, it needs to be something that is there. And what I try to describe that is, to myself at least, is it needs to be complex economic gameplay. Now, economic gameplay might not be what interests you. That's fine. That's perfectly fine. I've always been that. I think there's different aspects, but it's not a shooter. It's not a racing game. It's not a single player campaign. It is economy, supply chain, you call it grand strategy, whatever. That's what C4 has been touted as, and so it needs to do those things. And I'd hoped over winter break to look at the Sage editor suite. Just ran out of time, or maybe you could say I didn't prioritize it, but partly I knew I could do it after winter break, so I did things during my winter break that only could do during winter break. But anyways, the other aspect I think C4 really needs to do, and we'll see, is really appeal to all player types. And again, I can't remember the exact details. I just know that Solana transaction costs, forget the performance, whether they worked, to be honest, I think those issues have rectified themselves independent of Star Atlas. Solana just is better, and maybe it's because the meme crazes and the coins and all that stuff has gone away. But I mean, I go into do my small things and they always work. So, but playing Sage requires a whole bunch of Solana transaction fees, and they do add up to real money. So if you're basically playing transaction fees and not actually enjoying the game or earning, then so I think, again, C4 needs to appeal to all kinds of player types, in the sense that I think kind of maybe as a criteria, I mean, you need to be able to purchase some ships or crew or purchase anything, claim stakes, whatever, and then do something with it that's repeatable. And we've kind of been saying that for years now, that part of the problem is that most of the things coming out just haven't had replay value. Now, things are different. The shooter definitely has replay value. It's just not a lot of people playing. Racing could have replay value, but maybe it's not and the team kind of de-emphasized the racing, and so I'm not sure if it's fully developed enough to do it. But again, racing is a different gameplay than shooting, and shooters have been pretty around for a while. So again, other than Mario Kart and maybe, GTA, or what's the other racing? Forza? I can't remember. I'm not into racing, so I don't even know the name. But anyways, my point is that, need to be able to buy something, and which is fair, and then do something with it and be able to continue to do something with it. So, I mean, to me, that's sort of how a way to judge if C4 is good and, things. I think also looking ahead 2026, the Zinc launch is important. But I don't know, maybe now that the town hall, I guess it was announced at the summer thing, and then again, we got the alpha before the holidays. But now that kind of live, and I don't know, maybe a little bit of lack of promotion for it. And again, maybe that's coming, but I was thinking, the alpha, that's fine. Don't want to announce that because we're just trying to figure out how it works. Well, now it's supposedly live. I mean, it is live, and it's just us. And they even mentioned at the town hall, well, if it's just for old Star Atlas gamers, that's fine. I'm like, okay, that's no argument there. But again, it seems like mixed messaging there. But again, that's fine. They can change their mind. But I guess what I'm thinking more and more, because we need Zinc as the blockchain to get rid of the Solana fees. So it's sort of a prerequisite requirement now for C4 success is to have that. And again, I'm still not 100% sure, but I thought that's what's powering HoloSim. So it, again, feels like this is a much more mature. And again, if I remember correctly, this Zinc is the outward-facing thing that has been their test network from day one. So again, this doesn't feel like a brand new product. It's just a different way to frame it and a different way to promote it and a different way to get people interested in it. So, and again, it will just be the foundation of C4. So it just has to work. And again, if there's success from the airdrops and other things, hey, that's all great. But, again, to me at least anyways, Zynq just has to be there to make C4 happen. And again, I've stated many times I'm a gamer. I'm not into crypto for crypto's sake. So, if we need this to make the game better, that's awesome. So, yeah. So again, that's kind of my summary thinking again about where things are. And again, that doesn't take away from, graphic novels or Holosim or the different gameplay modes in UE5. It just, again, I keep going back to that. Yeah. And I guess they even did say at the Atlas Brew that the C4 is the thing that'll be unique in the sense of an actual blockchain game. And again, nothing wrong with the shooters. I mean, again, the idea of the gigantic space thing where you'll be in your ship, you went on a plan, you get out. I mean, again, it all fits together. And they've been pretty consistent on saying they're building the parts, and eventually all the parts will come together to the whole, which again is supposedly this Season 0. So yeah, I think all that, all makes sense. So, but anyways, I'll stop babbling about that. Those are the, to me, it's 2026 has got to be C4 and it's got to be good. So we'll see where it goes. Oh, and I guess I should caveat that I'm okay if it's not good on day one. Just fix it and make it better. So fundamentally, the thing needs to be there. And I guess we could look at Holosim as being proof of concept that, for the people who did play, it sounded like they were having fun. It just, again, had the stability and the growth and things like that, or growth issues where the infrastructure wasn't there, and the team knows that. So again, you hope that, if C4 comes out rocky, that, again, those will be addressed. So we'll see. And then finally, just talk again about my journey playing Star Atlas. Again, been pretty doing nothing because, again, the Solana fees, and again, part of that was just waiting to Zynq. Well, anyways, now that Zynq is live and what you do matters for the future airdrops, I did go ahead and decide to restart my Sage. Again, not sure if I've ever said this before, but assistant, really appreciate all the guys that are working. I know there's multiple names on it now. So, but again, it's a great tool. I mean, automation is required to play Sage. So had to download something, and apparently something changed and had to do something else. So just had to get back into understanding, because again, it's not coding, but it's, you got to do stuff, but again, that's the, compostability idea of Star Atlas, where anybody can build access into the game. So again, just thanks to all the people, names that I can't remember. I'm not even sure I know everybody who's putting into it, but it's a great tool. So I really appreciate that part of the community. But anyway, so I went ahead and restarted. I did do some analysis because my original goal was a Mamba X. And they did change the recipe level. It is definitely way closer to the original one from whatever they changed it to, but it's still higher. And I did some calculations and my brain hurt. So I said, I'll just get started. Because again, I guess I'm okay spending a little money for some of my soul, or spending some of my soul to earn the ZXP for the Zynq airdrop. Again, why not? So anyway, so I restarted what I apparently left off on, which was mining nitrogen, though I don't remember how much I need. And then I had my big fleet still at the CSS, so I decided just to have it mine hydrogen, because I think you need 100 million hydrogen or some gigantic number. But ultimately, hydrogen becomes fuel, and I'm going to need fuel to move the fleet around. So that was good enough to get started during winter break, and at some point I'll actually write down. I think I wrote down. I just didn't want to mentally try to figure it out. I admit it felt like work, and I just didn't want to do it. But anyways, I got the things running again. So so I'm still tentatively, but though not fully committed to trying to get the Mamba X again. Part of it is, again, the cost of the soul. Might be a little bit depending on when the C4 update comes out, and that might derail it. But again, we'll see how this all works out. It doesn't hurt right now. I feel okay spending the soul I have in my account for that. And then on the Zynq, things are, doing the daily check-ins, though they very nicely move that from literally a daily to, I think it's 6 or 7 days you get to keep your streak up. So that feels way more natural. So thank you guys for stop making us check every day. And when you kind of got out of sequence a little bit, it went from the morning to the afternoon to the evening. And yeah, it was just, just once in a few days that feels right. So thanks. Anyway, so I was doing that for a week or two, and then just this past week I decided to go ahead and put some money into it. So I forget what they're called, but I went ahead and purchased that first level so I can get extra XP. But I just did the $10 one, which again felt perfectly fine. And again, for nothing else, I think it's a fair price point, gives a little money to the team, so that's cool. And yeah, we'll just see. But yeah, felt good to do that. I mean, seems reasonable to do that to gain more points. So yeah, so doing that. So yeah, so that's pretty much the first week of 2026 in Star Atlas. Hopefully we'll get some more information and kind of get back into the regular thing. But I guess just coming back, and I know I had a hard week getting back into the routine, so I'm sure the Star Atlas team is probably in the same boat. So anyways, yeah, beyond that, just to wrap up, again, totally open to anybody who wants to be a guest on the podcast. Again, it could be any community member just wants to talk about the week in review, open to other content creators talking about what they're working on, builders, and of course any Star Atlas team members. Love to chat. Also, do check out my website, intergalacticherald.com. Again, got my guides, directories, recaps, the Discord newsfeed. If you want a Star Atlas mug, check out intergalacticgear.com. And again, love to get a group of Star Atlas gamers who aren't going to join guilds. Check out Intergalactic Coalition. Other than that, Happy New Year. I guess it's still relatively new, 9th or 10th, 11th when you listen to this. This is Matt with Intergalactic Herald. That was your Star Atlas Week in Review. Have a great week ahead.